Well, constant price increases have forced Ghanaians to reduce their appetite for fast-moving consumer goods, according to a survey by Maverick Research. The survey pointed out that consumers offset food price increases with non-essential items such as non-alcoholic beverages. Atumaika is managing principal of Maverick Research. He joins me on Zoom with some more detail. Good afternoon to you. Very interesting insights from the research. Talk to us a bit more about what you discovered from the survey.
Yes, thank you. So what we discovered from the survey is that compared to last year, so the first half of this year, January to June of 2023, compared to the same period 2022, value growth, that means for FMCG products, the price increases have grown by 80%.
Wow.
Meanwhile, volume has grown by 2%. But think about it. What's the cost of milk, or the cost of your average cost of any product that you buy, right? That's gone up by that much. And Ghanaian consumers have not seen increases in prices, in incomes to that level. So what do you have? What are they doing? They are substituting or making trade-offs. And so the trade-offs that we've seen in order to fund food inflation is a reduction in other categories that we consume, so that I wouldn't consume as many or as much carbonated soft drinks, etc. But I would rather use that money to fund the cost in tomato paste and other products. It's equally important to also clarify or mention that what we saw was that even within the foods category, all foods are not the same, right? And so there's needs and wants, right? And so the foods that we need, right, the essential foods, were fairly inelastic, right? So the price increases, consumers still tolerated the price increases for the most part. For foods that are optional, so what do I mean by optional foods, or foods that are good to have? I'm talking things like cheeses, margarine, butter, etc. We saw that consumers really cut back on volumes as quickly as prices went up, right? So that is what we're seeing, that Ghanaian consumer is stretched as it comes to his disposable income, and they are making those trade-offs based off of their economic situation and their needs at this point in time.
So what are the repercussions of this for manufacturers, for instance, for the non-essential items like you mentioned, the cheeses, margarine, because they're not having it easy as well. They're forced to increase prices because they also want to stay profitable.
Yes. So, and this happens when you go through these economic recessionary periods, quote unquote, if you look at it that way. For manufacturers, there are three key things that you need to understand. If you're a manufacturer in that space and within the FMCG space, you need to understand where your product sits as far as consumers' needs and wants are concerned, right? So is it something that, do you sit in are you a need or are you a want? Now, if you're a need or want, there are various strategies that you can deploy to better manage the new consumer reality or customer reality. Now, if you play in a category where you're highly substitutable, right, and so meaning there are other options in the marketplace at different price points, the quality are comparable or non-distinguishable, then you will be in a more high-risk scenario, right? Because if I have 5 cedis to spend or 10 cedis to spend, and you've increased your price above what I can afford, and there are equally good options for me, I'll switch out of your category. I'll switch out of your brand to buy those. Now, if you understand that, you then look at ways to mitigate that, either through your pack and your price points and the sizes that you offer, Are you going to reduce product in order to hit certain price points in order to keep your customers in? If the other option too, which manufacturers can do, is obviously look at their brands and their portfolio, right? So are you at the various price points? So do you have a sachet? Do you have a mid-pack? Do you have a large pack? Which would then offer different affordable entry points and use cases for consumers. Now, see, when I talk about this, I always want to talk about the fact that Ghanaians are not are not always seeking the cheapest option. They're looking for value, right? And so in certain consumer categories, you have the larger packs that are actually driving. So for instance, last year, tomato paste, for instance, the 2.2 kilogram packs really drove a lot of volume because most were looking for huge value, looking for real value, right? So it's slightly expensive, but I get more. So manufacturers need to understand the dynamic and how consumers actually are working and using the range of products that they have, the range of sizes and prices that they have in their portfolio. The last way that they can look at it is what we call watching the flanks, right? So in most cases, as we see now, you have the sachet end of the product range, and you have the real big container bucket type options. Like real example is laundry powder. So you have sachet options, and you have the bucket options, and then you have your mid tier range, so the 500 kg, etc. Manufacturers need to look at which of these tiers are growing, and then really within their portfolio and really play it up there. If you're playing to a price sensitive consumer or customer base, you would see that your sachet would have gotten more traction, and so you need to kind of focus on that and drive that bit either through your channel expansion, production, etc. On that front. If your consumers are value customers that still can afford those higher price points, you need to play up to that. So understanding that range and understanding the dynamics of how your consumers are interacting with your brand, your SKUs, your different price points, better positions you to do that. And so for those in the want section, be it margarine, butter, etc., there's still hope. And manufacturers just need to understand how those consumers are interacting with their product through data.
Well, final question. I mean, it's great that you clarify that Ghanaians are not necessarily looking for cheaper brands, but are looking for value. But my question is it also the case that less popular brands are expanding their market because their products are cheaper?
Absolutely. And I think we've seen that in a number of categories where we call them the no-name brands. But the key thing is that the Ghanaians are not, in terms of our consumer behavior, we're not monolithic, right? So you would have those that would be purely price driven, and if you play in that category as a manufacturer, as a brand owner, you need to be conscious of that there are certain price points that you don't cross, and if you play in that category and you're a big brand and you continue to increase prices, the market is always right. So consumers will always retreat until you make the necessary adjustment to that. But yes, we are seeing disruptions in the categories that we cover in terms of upstart brands or challenger brands really making headway.
All right, great insights there. Thank you so much, Atumaika, Managing Principal, Maverick Research. I appreciate your time.